Well, several lawmakers on Capitol Hill are pushing to repeal the FACE Act. Last week, in the nation's capital, 7 pro-lifers were sentenced to prison for charges related to the FACE Act. Specifically, they were put in jail for their attempted rescue mission at an abortion clinic in 2020. And here now to discuss the FACE Act and his efforts to repeal the legislation is Chip Roy, Republican representative from Texas. Congressman, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it. First off, I want to get your reaction to some of these recent sentences that have been passed down under the FACE Act. What do you think about all this?
Yeah, Tracy, great to be on, and appreciate the opportunity to talk about this, such an important topic, particularly for those of people of faith, people who are pro-life, who are watching the Department of Justice engage in weaponization against people for their views. There's no other way to put it. That's what we're seeing unfold. And you just mentioned sentences. We had a woman that is an activist, by the way, a progressive activist, so someone that I don't agree with on most issues, but who happens to be pro-life. It's an organization I've met with before, people who believe that in the sanctity of life, and despite having, frankly, very different views than I do on many things. And this woman received a sentence of 57 months. Almost 5 years. And that is what the Department of Justice thinks is carrying out justice, having someone who went to an abortion clinic. And sure, I mean, I think they engaged in blocking entry to the clinic. And perhaps that is a misdemeanor, right? I mean, whatever we think about these abortion clinics, I would prefer they not be, engaged in what they're doing and being open. But if there's something that you're doing there, it's at most a misdemeanor. We've got people all across this country who are blocking people's ability to go down roads. They're engaged in, blocking people throughout all the stuff that we're dealing with Israel and university campuses. And here we are, and we've got someone who gets 57 months in prison. And now I believe that individual has suffered a stroke while dealing with the fallout of that. So this is horrific. The Department of Justice shouldn't be doing this. We need to call them out. I've been doing that. And I hope we can repeal this legislation and bring it before the Judiciary Committee.
Yeah, and you've also, I know you've talked about the lack of protection for houses of worship under the FACE Act. Talk to us more about that. And do you think there's a double standard here?
Well, it sure seems like it. I mean, we've been asking for data. I sent a letter last October. It wasn't responded to. I then raised it again in front of the Department of Justice's head of civil rights, Kirsten Clark. And I said, hey, can you answer the question? She said, oh, sure. We're still waiting to get good information. We get bits and pieces, but not full answers. But what we know from the data is that there's overwhelming prosecution under the FACE Act of people of faith. There's overwhelming evidence that there is significant discrimination and significant amount of targets and attacking of churches and houses of worship across the country. And you're significantly more likely, I think it's like 22 times more likely, to have a house of worship being targeted and attacked than you are an abortion clinic. And yet the prosecutions are the opposite kind of ratio, where you've got a significant number of prosecutions under the FACE Act targeting pro-life individuals, but not people who are going after houses of worship. There's clearly a double standard. It's political. And that is when you lose our rule of law. That is when you lose our foundation of our democratic Republican form of government, when you can't trust the law enforcement agencies and the government to carry out things blindfolded, right? Lady Justice is supposed to be blindfolded. The Department of Justice is anything but blindfolded.
Sir, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it. God bless you.
Hey, God bless you, Tracy. Thank you all.